If you want to work with a twin needle or a double needle, it doesn't take much. I'm going to show you how to thread it on the Singer Elite CE677. This will be very similar to if you have a different model of Singer sewing machine. I do need to make sure I start off by getting back to a straight stitch on menu 1, and I'll explain why in a second. You will want to switch out your needles. They do come in different widths. So this one that I'm using today is just a 2.0 twin needle. That means the needles are fairly close together. And we're going to do some decorative stitches with them. Some of the quilts that I have been showing in these Singer videos, we talk about our Stitching Cosmos online course. And here's a block that we've actually stitched with twin needles on a different machine. So this stitch is a little bit different, but this will give you an idea. You can get kind of that double look and a whole new world of stitching. You just need to know a few things about your machine before you go and just pick any stitch whatsoever. You are going to need a second spool of thread, so I'm going to put with my variegated thread I've been using a pink thread, and we can just thread it right on top of the one that's in the machine. Do make sure you give it a good little tug so it gets all the way down into the tension area. Make sure your presser foot is up while you're doing this as well, so everything is where it needs to be. Do keep in mind, so the needle threader will not work because the needles are now separated and there's no needle in the center. So go ahead and manually thread the needles. There are handheld needle threaders if you have trouble with this. So twin needles can be used for simulating, say, that hem on a t-shirt. If you've seen the 2 rows of stitching on your hem, you can put a twin needle in and get that same look. I know it's going to look a little different on the back because that's actually a cover stitch, but all in all, a twin needle will give you the look. You can also do pin tucks with a twin needle. Let me just go ahead. I'm going to just do a little bit of straight stitching just to make sure that I have threaded it correctly. If you didn't, it's not going to stitch at all, so you'll have to rethread. But all in all, if it sounds like a normal sewing machine, you have threaded it correct. So as you can see, this isn't a very far apart needle, which will give me actually a little bit more fun when it comes to decorative stitches. Now, I'm going to try kind of a fun in menu 2. Let's do stitch number 65. Now, as soon as I pull this up, before you stitch, you have to look at the stitch width. So on this machine, it can stitch a 7mm wide stitch, but we have a 2.0 twin needle on. That means that you have to reduce the stitch width down 2mm. So from 7 is the total, minus 2 is 5. So you need to be 5 or less before you stitch, so you don't step over the edge of the presser foot. So I always go a little slow as I kind of get started, make sure things are looking correct when I do decorative stitches. And before you know it, you're going to have all new looking stitches. Like you can go back through, we've been talking about doing a stitch book. So if you've done a stitch book, you can go back and do the stitches all a second time with a twin needle because they'll look totally different. Then you can do them again because you change the colors that are on and that you have used. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Isn't that neat? So that totally is a different stitch. It's kind of doubled, has some color pop to it because of the variegated thread that we're using. Let's do stitch number 05. This is like a honeycomb stitch, and just because we changed the width on the last stitch doesn't mean that it will stay. It always resets for the new stitch. So I see it's at 7, so I need to take it down to 5 or less, and then I'll be ready to stitch. So let's just do this stitch, and again, I'll just kind of make sure everything looks good. And then once you're set, you can go ahead and stitch. This is one of those things that people get a huge kick out of because all of a sudden they're like, well, I didn't know I could use a twin needle with my machine. Here's what I'm talking about. You can really see extra color, pop of color that you get with a twin needle. So if this is exciting for you and you've tried it and you want to learn more, you gotta check out our Stitching Cosmos online course. There's free videos that you can watch to see if this course is right for you. We'll put links in the description. And then plus we've got all the tutorials that we've been doing on this Singer machine, but you're probably noticing a lot of Singer machines are similar to each other. So even if you don't have this exact number, you can learn lots from these videos in what you can do with your own machine.